Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Brandon Chin or Bento Boy, and in this YouTube video, I'm going to be sharing some tips and tricks to help you guys out in the NFT space. I honestly think that this might be my most important or most valuable video, so make sure you guys click that like button and also make sure to subscribe down below. And you're going to want to watch this whole entire video through because I do cover some important topics, especially if you're a beginner. I think that this video will help you guys out a lot along your journey. I'm going to be sharing what I learned over the past couple of months in this video, so you guys are going to want to stay tuned. But we are at 5.75k subscribers. That is crazy, guys. We were literally at 4.9 thousand just last video, so I do want to give you guys a big thank you, and I will be hosting another giveaway on my Twitter because I'm just so grateful for all of you. So make sure you guys do check out my Twitter. I'm actually hosting a giveaway there right now. But anyways, we're gonna be jumping right into the video, and as always, guys, nothing I say is financial advice. I'm just here to share my thoughts and opinions with you guys. Alright guys, so first off, I did want to cover a quote by Carl Jung, and he does say the fool is the precursor to the savior. So I really like this quote, and he's basically saying you have to be a fool and mess up in order to transform and become successful in basically anything that you do. So this is something that I really like and a model I like to live by. Another quote that I also really like is, it's good to learn from your mistakes, but it's better to learn from other people's mistakes. And this is from Warren Buffett, so you know that this is A1 information, very philosophical. So in this YouTube video, I basically want to show and break down all of the mistakes that I have made, because over the past couple of months, I have made a ton of mistakes. So I want to share those with you guys so you guys don't have to make those mistakes for yourself. And instead, you can basically just learn from me, and then you can get a head start. So the first lesson I did want to share is a very important one, and it is: be very careful when you're investing in really hyped up projects, and also aggressively take profits when you're up a lot of money. So as an example, I do have my Oni One Force here. So if you guys don't know, the Oni One Force was probably one of the most hyped up projects in NFT history. And I actually did end up aping into this because I did have a lot of FOMO. But I did end up buying this, let's see here, for 2.68. The NFTer was talking about it, 888 was talking about it, Logan Paul even bought one, Steve Aoki bought as well, and a bunch of people were basically saying that this thing is going to the moon. So actually the same day that I bought this, it went up to 7.5 Ethereum at the floor. So I was up a ton of money. So what did I decide to do? I actually decided to hold this through the entire thing because everyone on Twitter was basically telling me we're going higher. So I was basically listening to all of them, and I just held my Oni One Force. But boy, was I wrong. So I basically bought around this time here. And as you can see, we had this parabolic rise to around like the 7.5 to 8 Ethereum range, like I was saying. And when something rises like this chart here, that is not very healthy, and it is not going to continue up like this forever. So I would highly recommend you guys take profits, especially when you're up a lot in a short period amount of time. But instead, I actually just held, and I still have it today, and I'm holding for a loss. The current floor is around 1.2, so I'm actually losing money on this trade. But this is a valuable lesson for me. And this next lesson is also very important and can save you a lot of money. And it's basically to have a thesis when you are buying into projects, and don't just ape into it because some influencer on Twitter told you to buy it. So basically, when I first started trading NFTs, I bought into this project called Derpy Burbs because an OG or big influencer in the space called Pranksy bought into them. I actually talked about this in my first video, but I did no research at all, and I just had no idea why I was buying. And I was buying at 0.2 Ethereum, and as you guys can see, the floor is basically worth nothing. So I did actually end up losing, I think, around 1 Ethereum on this project. And I also did the same thing with Party Penguins. I followed Pranksy again. It's very smart, I know. And I bought at 0.4, and I also bought some at 0.7 as well, and now the floor is 0.01. So I actually did end up losing 2 Ethereum on this project as well. So a good example of this is the Doge Pound. So this is when I actually started to take trading a little bit more serious, and I started to do my own research. So basically, I had the thesis that the Doge Pound was an overall blue chip project. The team was overall very solid, and the community was also very tight. I also bought into this project because I knew that they had the 3D Doges coming up. They also had the puppy drop coming up, and a lot of other bullish news. So I did buy into this. And this was overall a great thing to do because, as you can see, the floor is 3 Ethereum, and I started buying at 0.3. So I have made probably tens of thousands on this one trade here, and I've made a good amount of money on this project. So it is very important to have a thesis on why you're investing into a project because the space is so volatile. The project floor can drop and you might be tempted to panic sell, but when you have that thesis and when you know why you're invested into that project, you have the long-term vision and you know why you're there. So you're not going to want to panic sell. You're just going to be very logical and analytical, and you won't make dumb decisions like I did back here with the Derby Burbs and Party Penguins. Alright guys, and this next tip is also very important, and I see a lot of beginners fall into this trap. I myself personally have made this mistake many times, and it's basically not accounting for the Ethereum transaction fee and not taking into account the project and OpenSea fee as well. So I do have a project pulled up here called Basefish Mafia. This is just a random NFT set that I pulled up with a low floor, but basically let's just say for the sake of simplicity that the floor is 0.04 just to make it easy. But basically if you were to try and buy one of these fish off of the floor, it would cost, let's just say 0.04, but the gas fee is also 0.03 right now. I actually just checked. So that is something that you have to take into consideration and add that to the cost. Also, if you want to sell the project, you are going to be hit with a fee. So for example, if I were to list my Doge here, as you guys can see, there's a service fee of 2.5 and a creator royalty of 5%. Usually it's around 7.5%, and that's basically what's the normal. So for example, when I first got into the space, I was really naive and I didn't even understand that those things existed. Alright, so as an example, let's just say we did buy the fish for 0.04 and we sold it for 0.08. You know, you would initially think you hit a 2x, right? But you have to consider all of the fees. So let's just type in 0.08 and we have to account for the 7.5% fees. So we're going to multiply this by 0.925. So that brings us down to 0.075, and then we have to add the gas fee, which is 0.03 at the current moment, so minus 0.03. So we actually only made 0.004. So you have to take all of these fees into account, especially if you're trading these smaller projects. And this is because they do add up, and it might not seem like a lot at the moment, but you have to take these things into considerations. In fact, you're basically making no money at all, and it's not worth your time. So that's also another thing to consider. If you're buying into these cheaper NFT sets, you have to be very careful. I personally don't do this. I would only buy into these NFT sets if you're really confident in them, or if you think that they have big news or a lot of hype coming. And this is because these cheaper projects have a lot harder time moving up because of all of these fees. So for example, let's say we did try to sell this, right, for 0.08. For 0.08 to be the floor here, there would have to be 245 sold in order for you to be the floor, right? So that's actually very, very unlikely. So the chances of you even making a slight profit on this project, buying the floor and trying to flip it, is pretty low. Again, guys, I'm not trying to FUD the Basefish Mafia. I just chose this project as an example. The next mistake is one I see beginners make all of the time, and I am just as guilty. So basically, this is confirmation bias, and you think you're basically smarter than everyone else, and your project is better because you bought into it, right? So I actually made this mistake with GSA, or Galactic Secret Agency. So I think that this was the second project that I actually ever bought. And I've actually bought these at 0.06. So I don't really know what the psychology is behind this, but I tend to realize that when you buy into a project, you personally start to believe that it is the only one that can do well, and you start to lose sight of the whole entire NFT market. So for example, I basically took all of my money and I actually bought into this project, right? Which is, first of all, not a smart thing to do. But I also started to get into this frame of thinking that basically any other project was dumb and it couldn't be better than my project at GSA, when that couldn't be further from the truth. I kept trying to find reasons why this was the project that was going to make me rich, and why this was the project that was going to be the one over everything else. But in fact, it wasn't. The odds that you actually pick the best project your first go around is very unlikely. So basically, the lesson is don't be closed-minded. There's a lot of new NFT projects in the space, so don't just be one-track minded and thinking that your project is the best. Always have an open mind and always make sure to look out for different projects. So as a result of this mistake, I actually ended up losing, I believe, around 0.4 Ethereum. And at the time, that was a third of my whole entire capital. So I was really down bad and pretty sad. But this is a very important lesson, especially if you're starting out. Always have an open mind, and just because you buy into the project doesn't mean it's set to moon. The next big lesson that I learned is that art does not matter, okay? So I personally thought, this is the NFT space, we're buying JPEGs, they must look cool in order for the price to be high, when that couldn't be the further from the truth, right? So art is also very subjective, but guys, come on. I know that this is a famous artist, but I personally think that these look very silly. I personally am not a fan of the art, I have to be honest. That's just me personally. I know a lot of people think that these are cool. However, that doesn't mean that I didn't buy into the project. I actually made around 1.5 at flipping these Creature World NFTs. But the art is, come on guys. So after some months of being in the NFT space, I've actually come to the conclusion that artwork pretty much doesn't matter. It's a nice thing to have, but it is not the only thing that you should be looking at. I personally would argue that the team, the community, and the overall utility that the project brings is much more important than what it looks like. And I think the perfect example of this is Gary V's VeeFriends. So the floor price on this is 8.9. Come on guys. So if art was everything, these NFTs would not be going for tens of thousands of dollars. The NFT art itself doesn't matter because I wouldn't be buying for the art. I would be buying for all of the utility. So I do believe that if you do own a VeeFriends, you can attend a VeeCon and actually meet Gary Vee, as well as a bunch of other perks as well. So that's what's valuable about this NFT, and that's why it costs $38,000. Not because it looks like this. So I was actually planning on ending the video, but I do want to give a couple more tips just to help you guys out. So another mistake is when you make a lot of money on a trade, and it probably will happen, you're going to be feeling so confident and you're going to be up so much money that you're not going to be really caring about what you invest in, and that's very, very dangerous. So I have personally noticed that when I'm up a lot of money, that's when I make dumb, rash decisions, and that's how I end up losing a good amount of it. So I make sure you guys don't let that happen. When you're up a lot of money, it's natural to feel invincible and you can't lose money, so you'll invest in some dumb projects and take more risk when that shouldn't be the case. You should maybe take more risk, but make sure you guys aren't making dumb decisions. And lastly guys, this relates to my first tip, but basically if you're up a good amount of money and you're happy with it, just take the profit. When you're looking at a project, gather all of the information that you can and make an analytical decision. Don't let your emotions be a part of it. If you're happy with the money, just take it and don't look back. You know, it could go up higher, but if you're happy with the money, so be it. It doesn't matter. You made the best decision that you could with the information that was given to you. So don't look back. So I personally have sold projects and they have went up 10 Ethereum after that, but you know, I don't kick myself for it because I just made the decision that I could with the best of my abilities, and you know, it moved up a lot and I missed out on a good amount of profits, but that's all right. You know, I couldn't change that. I couldn't predict that as well. Alright guys, and that's gonna wrap up our YouTube video here today. We're actually at 7,069 followers, which is amazing. We were literally at 3,000 followers just a couple of days ago. And also, as I stated at the beginning, we're at 5.76k subscribers. So I do want to say thank you guys so much. I am so grateful to have all of you guys here as subscribers, and if you haven't already, please join the fam and click the subscribe button. But I do want to give back as much as possible, so I'm giving out a lot of whitelist spots and money on my channel. I will probably be giving more NFTs out as well, so make sure you guys are tuned in for that. I will be doing some time sensitive drops on Twitter and YouTube as well, so make sure you guys have the post notifications on for both of those. But overall, that's all I have for you guys today. These are very, very important tips that have helped me. You know, I'm not perfect. I still am learning, and I'm a student of the space. This is all really new to everyone, and no one really knows exactly everything. But I did hope that this video helped you guys a lot. I'm basically just trying to give as much value as I can to you guys, so I hope you did enjoy. And if you did, please click that like button and leave a comment down below. And that's basically all I have. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and peace.